Let's walk through the PlaySoundsViewController plus Audio class extension to understand exactly what this code is doing. Open the PlaySoundsViewController plus Audio Swift file and navigate to the top. The first thing you see here is a struct of alert messages. This is just a convenient way to have the alert messages in a single place. If you have strings or other static items that you want to use throughout your app, this is a good practice to follow. Below that, you see the playing state enum, which will be used by the configure UI function to set the button states depending if we're playing or not playing any audio. Next up is the setup audio function, which is where we try to load the audio recording file passed in from the Record Sounds View controller. If loading the audio file fails, we present an alert message to the user. By the way, did you notice these mark statements here in the comments? These are to make it easier for you to jump around in your code. When you pull down the function listing in the editor toolbar, you can see these section headers in bold. It makes it easier for you to jump to the relevant section. The play sound function is the main function in this extension. As the name suggests, it carries out playing back the audio. This function has something you have not seen before, that is, optional parameters. See the question mark here after rate's float type? It indicates that rate is an optional parameter, and if you don't pass it in, it will be set to nil. The same is true for pitch. The first part of this function is to grab the AV audio engine and create an AV audio player node. Next, we check if the rate or the pitch parameters are passed in, since they're optional. The way we do this check may look a little weird at first, as we're doing a value binding inside an if statement. See the line here, if let pitch equals pitch? You really should read it as, if the pitch variable is not nil, then execute this pitch statement. If pitch is nil, we'll skip over this code. Likewise, if rate is nil, we'll skip over this code too. The concept of value binding is covered in UIKit fundamentals in the next lesson. Next, we create an echo and reverb nodes, but we will only use them if either the echo or reverb parameters were passed in and set to true. We can either have an echo and reverb, just reverb, or neither. Lastly, we tell Audio Player to stop playing any current audio and schedule our recorded audio for playback. This ensures that the recorded audio is in memory and ready to be played. This part here that looks like another function is actually a trailing closure. The schedule file function takes in a completion closure that it runs when the audio file is ready to start playing. This code here sets a timer to fire when the audio is done playing that resets the button to the not playing state. Now that everything is set up, we try to start the audio engine and the audio node playback. At this point, the audio would be playing. Connect audio nodes is just a helper function to connect a set of audio nodes together in the audio engine. As with most helper functions, this just cuts down on the duplication of code in the play sound function. The stop audio function is in charge of stopping the audio. Remember that timer we set back in the play sound function? We don't want it to fire as we're stopping the sound here, so the first if statement invalidates or cancels that timer. The next few lines stop the audio player node and the audio engine itself. Next, we come to the UI functions, which are really just in charge of enabling and disabling the 6 playback buttons and the stop button. These are helper functions, and they help us by avoiding duplication of code. We just have one place to enable or disable the buttons, depending on if we're playing or not playing audio. You can see that Configure UI itself uses another helper function to toggle the playback buttons. If you pass in false, they all get disabled, and if you pass in true, they will all be enabled. Last up is the show alert function, which simply displays an alert to the user using UI alert controller if something goes wrong. That's it. I've taken you through the black box class extension that allows all the audio to be played back with changes to pitch, rate, with echo, and even reverb. Remember that there's no harm in playing around with this code. You should feel free to experiment changing the settings and more.